Hello and welcome to Beyond the Slipstream, the companion podcast to the Team Bus from Harperama Productions. I'm Matt. I'm here with my brother Justin, and we're going to get into a whole bunch of non-cycling stuff. Where do you want to start?
I'm going to start with a recommendation. There's a new show on Apple TV Plus called Pluribus. Have you heard about this at all?
Yeah. I've heard some very positive chatter about this show.
So this is the new show from the guy that did Breaking Bad. It's Terry
Right, Vince Gilligan.
Yeah, or Vince Gilligan. Sorry, not Terry Gilliam. Um, I didn't really know anything about it. Like I didn't even know that it was his show. I mean, I'd seen a couple of strikes on social media and things like that. But I had a friend of mine that I trust his taste pretty well. If he tells me something's good, it's typically pretty good. And he was raving about it. And when he told me what the concept was, I was like, okay, that's enough for me to give it a watch. And they put out 2 episodes to start, but it's essentially, it kind of jumps around in time, but it centers around this moment when the entire world, with the exception of 12 people, become a hive mind. Okay. So everybody on the planet now has the same consciousness and, the same thoughts, the same memories. Everybody knows everything about every person on the planet simultaneously, with the exception of 12 people. And it centers around, the main character, who is one of those 12 people. And it's this very weird, end of the world, but it's not the end of the world. It's I don't know, man. It's really it has this super disconcerting feeling when you watch it. But we've now watched the first 2 episodes and then a new episode that came out on Friday. So we've now seen 3 episodes of it. It's really good. I definitely recommend it
for sure.
Uh-huh.
Just the pairing of that concept and that creative mind, Vince Gilligan, it's more than enough for, I would think, anybody to at least check it out.
Well, and it's a very novel concept that plays on some of these the zombie tropes and the nuclear apocalypse tropes, but imagine all at once the entire world is on the same page, in the snap of a finger. So it's
don't spoil.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting. So definitely recommend that. Why don't we go tit for tat? What else? What do you got?
All right. Well, the first one I'll mention is, and I'll put a couple of links in the show notes. This sort of picks up from our Danny Carey discussion from way back.
I watched this video.
Of course, yeah. That the Danny Carey Numa performance continues to just lurk omnipresent in my feeds on YouTube and stuff like that.
I just showed it to somebody at work a week or 2 ago.
Yeah, it's just such a touchstone for so many things. And so I recently stumbled upon just a guy. He's just like a drummer in his house, but and he's really, really good. And he put up a video of I can't remember. Is it Enter Sandman or something?
It is. It's Enter Sandman.
Yeah, it's Enter Sandman from Metallica. But he's playing the drums to it. He's got the actual track going, but he's doing the drums live on it, and it's like if Danny Carey from Tool had been playing the song, and it's just so perfect, he is
really
just hitting
spot on,
and it kind of goes to show how, when you're that good, you really can have a signature sound that is all your own, even though drums is just banging out rhythms on a couple of very similar instruments. There's no one that does drum fills like Danny Carey, and this guy is just putting him in there so perfectly. So it's a fun watch, especially if you're into
and the way that he does
Danny Carey story.
the rim hits Like it's all of it was very just had a very Danny Carey feel. I mean, he was really, really, really channeling Danny Carey.
For sure. Go ahead. What do you got next?
Um, so my wife was like super excited to watch the NBC produced run up show for Wicked, which is gonna be coming out in theaters this week. But NBC did a like
It's like a concert, right?
it
That
was
was
yes, it was like a concert, almost like but like think concert mixed with more theatrical,
like more
elements.
produced, more produced, and
Yes, but like
yeah.
really involving the audience and
Well, say
in
the
the
name of
lighting.
it. Say
It's
the name
so
of
it's
it.
called Wicked One Wonderful Night. And they have the entire cast comes out and they interact with fans and there's a lot of like, you know, celebrity guests and things like that that kind of pop in and out. But the thing that blew me away the most is Jeff Goldblum, who's in the movie, comes out at one point and does a song with Cynthia Erivo, who plays the
Alphaba.
Alphaba. Thank you. And he's playing the piano. Did you know that Jeff Goldblum played the piano?
Yes,
I
yes,
did
I knew
not
that.
know
Yeah,
this.
he's a beast.
And he's very good.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like, nothing surprises me. The guy is uber talented. I mean, it's not like it's a giant surprise that this guy's got even more talent than you realize.
Mhm.
But it was wonderful. The thing about it and it happened to my wife. Now, my wife will tell you, turn on the TV and I'll probably cry. Okay, like I get choked up at shit constantly. Even my wife got choked up at this. So like there's something about music and art in the way where they intersect and how it can create such an emotional bond with people. And it was really really neat to see all of these fans of this of this musical theatrical product just having this safe place to nerd out on just even more content of this type. It was really neat. You know what I mean? If you're in,
Do you guys have a history with Wicked? Like, what's your?
no, she watched the movie and she got into it, from the movie. So she really likes the music from it. I mean, she's typically into anything that's sing songy, and she watches the show on Amazon that's all pretty much music called Has Been Hotel. It's like a
Oh
really
my God, my daughters are obsessed with Has Been Hotel.
it's very raunchy.
Yes, I know. That ship has sailed. My daughter. In fact,
Yeah.
I can. I pretty much spend most of my days these days with Has Been Hotels songs banging around in my head because of them.
Yeah. No, they're very good.
Welcome to the show.
The one with
That's so
the
funny.
one with oh damn, I can't think of his name. The old black
Value
guy.
medium
The old
is
black
getting
guy.
mighty rare.
The old
I don't
black
know if you're.
the old black guy
Yeah,
that's in like everything ever. God damn.
Morgan Freeman.
No, he's in the show. I just can't think of his name. Hold on.
I have no idea what the show looks like. I just know what the songs
It's
are
crazy.
because
It's
they
crazy
played
like
them in the they played
Japanese
them
animation type
right
animation,
in
but
the
this is killing me that I can't think of this guy's name.
well, while you're figuring that out, I'll say that
Keith David. Keith
okay.
David.
Um my history with Wicked, I remember that Mandy read the books. No surprise there.
Hmm.
Like way, way, way back when we were first dating. We saw the play in New Orleans. It was actually like really, really cool how we got to see it. We were going to New Orleans just for like a weekend away when we still lived down there, and I believe Mandy was pregnant at the time. Um, we got an Airbnb, and like it was kind of like near Louis Armstrong Park, uh, which is sort of near where the theater was, where the play was at, and we didn't know anything about it. Like driving over there, no idea Wicked is playing or anything else like that. We knew it existed, the musical existed and everything, um, but we see a billboard as we're going over that's like Wicked, playing it. And I'm like, oh look, Wicked's playing. That'd be fun because we had been wanting to see it. We were familiar with with the soundtrack at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And um, so I said, when we get into our spot, well, I'm going to look up online, look on my phone and see if, see if there's tickets available or something like that. Right. So I, we get in, I look it up and there's nothing, there's nothing looking like too promising. Right. But I'm looking at where the place is and I realize it's like I could walk to this theater from where we were staying in like 10 minutes. It's like right around the corner from where we're staying. So Mandy was like, I gotta relax for a while or whatever. Like, so I was like, I'm gonna walk over and see if I can get tickets at the box, just see if I can make something happen. And I go over and they're like, can't sell you any tickets right now, but every day before the show, we do a little auction for our like allotted seats that don't get used because like they always hold back you know 22 pairs of tickets to hand out to VIPs or whatever, but if they don't use them, then they'll resell them. And it's like, so come here, you got to be here at 9 o'clock, get in line, and everybody's like given numbers, and the first X number of people will get the tickets or whatever. And the guy told me, he goes, and just so you know, usually everybody gets the tickets that show up. You know what I mean? Like it's usually not so many people here waiting for standby that you don't get them. So I was like, oh, sweet. So I went back the next day, boom, we got the tickets. It was like no
Nice.
fuss, no muss. And they were like fourth row. They were way off to the side, but it was like fourth row.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. And they were cheap too. They were like $50 a piece. So beautiful, you know, uh, story about Wicked, and it was just this like very fun memory that we both have. And uh, right after I walked out of the theater that day, I completely stopped giving a shit about Wicked. Like I I started to watch the movie, the first movie that came out like a year or two ago, and like I watched like 20 minutes and I'm just like, I'm not enjoying this at all. Like, I don't know. And I know they're great. All my critics love them. The second one I know is fantastic. I know it's going to be in the Oscar conversation in a couple of categories. I know all that. I will get around to watching these movies at some point, but I'm just so not interested. So,
I'm with you.
what'd you say?
I said,
You're
I'm
with
with
me?
you. Like, I appreciate it. And because my wife's into it, and I, obviously want to take an interest in things that she's interested in, I entertain it. But, you know what I mean? The reality is, like, if I didn't watch it, I'd be okay.
Yeah.
I will say, the two of them, Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo, are utterly, you know, perfect, in it.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
know,
Absolutely.
they are, both of them, just absolutely perfection.
Mhm.
Maybe a little thin for my taste on the both of them, but good lord,
Yeah.
uh, they both have chops for days, and they do a wonderful job. And I can't say enough about it. It really, it's fun. But like, my wife is going with her, her all the girls in the family, and they can have fun.
Oh, that show is like going on the road
No, they're going to.
to the new movie.
The new movie comes out this week, so they're all going to go see it on Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of the movies, I would like to just give a ringing endorsement to going to the movies, to like going out to the movies, which I did with the family last night. Um, the theater experience is just great. It's great to be in a theater with other people watching a movie. I know that there are some people that are just like, ew, I want no part of that, but
I love going
it's
to a
really
movie.
fun. What's that?
I love going to the movies. Always
Yeah,
have.
and these days, like damn near every theater out there has got like the reclining seats, and like it's just super, super comfortable and just nice to see a movie. Like it's definitely a heightened experience over watching it at home. Um, I'm fully with you. If you feel like smuggling in some candy, shoot, I'll smuggle in candy, I'll smuggle in popcorn, I'll smuggle in beers. Like I don't care. Smuggle some stuff into the movies. These are a bunch of big ass corporations that I don't give one rat's ass about. The stuff is so expensive anyways that like, yeah, I'm gonna smuggle some stuff in, make it a little easier on my wallet. I mean, they're still getting some of my hard-earned dollars. Um, if you got a way to minimize the cost for yourself, go for it. My wife gets like specialty passes as part of like her benefits package at work. They got some whole suite of benefits, and one of them is you can go online and go to this website and you get discount passes. So like I think we got our tickets for like $10 each, and then we also got two like $5 popcorns. Um, so there's every theater chain has got like their rewards club thing, and basically like if you like going to the movies, it's pretty much if you're willing to spend the cost of like two full price tickets, you can watch as many movies as you want for a month. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm pretty sure the cost of the movie clubs that the different theaters offer is somewhere between the cost of one and two tickets.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to cost you $25, and then you're going to be able to see an unlimited number of movies for that month. So, $25 if that's one of your big hobbies, $25 a month. It's not a lot
No,
at
it's
all.
not.
So go to the movie. So we saw Now You See Me, Now You Don't. And I did want to mention I Like You, and I'll cry at the drop of a hat. And like, if you've seen the trailer for Hamnet, like, oh my God, that trailer, just the trailer by itself just brings me to tears.
I have
That
not.
that
I will have to go
oh,
check it out.
that movie is going to be so good. I cannot wait. But
Did
Now You
you
See Me,
did you
Now You
like?
Don't.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you like that?
Yeah, it's another one of my children's obsessions, along with Has Been Hotel. They absolutely love this franchise,
It's
and
good. It's
they were
entertaining.
yeah, it's super entertaining, and they were over the moon with this movie, which is just so gratifying to be sitting there in the theater and just to look over and see your kids just absolutely loving every second of it. Um, what I want to shout out from this movie, it was great. It was fine, like whatever. It was entertaining. It's not mind blowing cinema, but it's a fun little
It's a
romp.
popcorn movie.
Um, yeah, and it's less than 2 hours. I got to give him full props for that. The standout performance by far is Rosamund Pike. She is incredible. I mean,
Is
I
she
became
playing one
aware
of
of her with
the
Gone Girl.
new magicians that like
No,
the
she's playing the bad guy, and she's the
Oh,
wealthy heir to the South African diamond fortune, and this woman is chewing scenery and absolutely crushing the South African accent to a level that you have never seen anyone. This is the school of accent work, because she has this South African accent so goddamn perfect. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And she is just like pure South African evil, and like absolutely my favorite part of the movie is just anytime this one was on screen, her look was incredible, and it was great. Her whole tete-a-tete with the horseman was fantastic. So opens with a really great set piece, it closes with a great set piece. It totally delivers. So get out there, go to the movies, get out of the cave. um
yeah,
you know
I'm a huge Jesse Eisenberg fan, and I am definitely a huge Woody Harrelson fan. I mean, I've
I don't
loved
know
it.
if we talked about it on the show, but like I'm almost a bigger fan of Jesse Eisenberg as a director. Did you see the movie he put out last year with what's his name from Succession, Kieran Culkin?
No, you know what? I know exactly. It's about the brothers or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, that go and visit. Like you have got to watch that
It's
movie.
on my list. I feel like I was like gonna watch it, gonna watch it, gonna watch it. Then it like kind of fell off, and I do want to watch it. I will make a point to watch it. Maybe I'll make a point to watch it. And we can talk about it on the show.
Um, I would love to. The movie was called A Real Pain.
Yes,
And it is so so good. I absolutely adore that movie, and I'm like, Eisenberg is starring in it as well alongside Kieran Culkin. But as a director, I'm really blown away by that movie. So and I'm super super looking forward to whatever he does next as a director. Um,
I've liked him in many things over the years, but he did a movie. I'm holding on real quick. I just want to make sure that I give it the right. I'm pretty sure it's a Noah Baumbach thing. I just want to make sure it's the right name. Hold on 1 second. I just want to make sure that it is him.
as our
Yeah,
as
yeah.
our
This
podcast
no no
grinds to a halt.
the squid and the whale.
Oh yeah, fantastic.
It's like he's so good in that movie, dude. It's with Jeff Daniels and Laura Linney. Oh God,
And that's the one where he pretends like he wrote the Beatles song or something like that in front of an entire or the Pink was it Pink Floyd maybe or something in front
I
of an
can't remember.
entire.
It's been a long time. I mean, it's got
Yeah,
to been 20
yeah.
years since I watched that movie. But ever since then, man, I've really enjoyed him. I thought he played a good Lex Luthor, even nobody else did, and I loved him in Zombieland, and so
Social Network, of
Social
course, too. So
Network. God,
no, I'm
he's
with you.
so good.
I like that. I like that. All right, what else? What else is on your list?
So I'm gonna skip two of them just because I feel like we're probably getting a little bit far into it. But one of the things I wanted to talk about is so I have a friend that streams, and he's gonna be taking a break, and so that's definitely one of my places that I get some of my uh, video content for kind of my own itch to scratch my creative itch. So I've decided that in this little break that I have that I'm going that and this is something I've been kicking around for a while, but I'm going to make an entire movie using the Red Dead Redemption online platform to make a machinima full movie, which is like by far the the biggest type of project that I've done. But what I've decided with it and what I had you watch earlier is that's essentially going to be like a concept trailer for what I can do with it or what it could be. But I'm going to shot for shot outline the entire thing, get it very well organized ahead of time, and then I'm going to attempt to make an entire movie that way, kind of.
How are you gonna handle the dialogue?
So, I mean, we use Discord when we do RP for GTA. So, my plan is to use like literally this mic, and I have a couple of friends with good mics, and I've essentially I'm also going to look for people to help. So part of the overall thought process of it is I'm going to come out with the trailer, the concept trailer, and the concept trailer is going to have a call to action to see if anybody else wants to be involved in the making of it. So I plan on streaming my process of making it. So not just when we actually record it, but like I'm going to stream the planning process as I go through and I decide for each location, the angle, the shot, how I want it to be. And I'm going to stream all of that while I'm doing it. Because obviously I have to be in the game to be doing a lot of that stuff. So I'm trying to come up with an excuse to, for me to do it. So I'm going to stream the whole thing. And,
Can you have a recording session outside of a streaming session where you get your characters on mics, record dialogue, and then superimpose that over the recording that you're doing off of the game, or does it have to be done live? Did they have to be playing the character and saying the words as they're playing, and then you edit from there?
you're essentially saying like ADR.
I don't know what that is.
That's like when they come in behind a movie and do the dialogue over top of the already shot movie. Where
Yeah.
they record, they call that ADR. Um, yeah, I mean, there's definitely a possibility. I mean, I've thought about that. I've thought about like again, which is it's kind of the process of it, and which is kind of why I want to I want to stream it, and the reason that I want to kind of like I want to I want to have a visual, record of the making of this particular project. So,
No, that's definitely cool. That's very Andy Harper right there.
and I think that I don't know. Like I look at that Macbeth thing, the GTA Macbeth thing, where they were you literally just using in-game options to
No,
be
it's
able to
it's
do that.
Hamlet, Grand
Or
Grand
Hamlet,
Theft
sorry,
Hamlet.
Hamlet.
We mentioned Hamnet, and now we're mentioning Grand Theft Hamlet. Also, I meant to point out in the previous topic, two mentions of Jeff Goldblum in a row on this podcast.
Um,
Yes, Grand
so
Theft Hamlet.
so the thing that's interesting is figuring out the limitations of it, because like I don't want it to be the story that I'm writing is not going to be in the world of Red Dead. All right. I'm going to use the medium of the online world to substitute for Appalachia and the South post Civil War. So
Mhm.
so obviously the concept is going to be that a Union soldier behind enemy lines at the end of the Civil War escapes to make his way north, and in the process meets a runaway slave who's trying to free his brother and escape out of the South. And so, these two, you know, these two individuals come together um, with
A
a
shared purpose.
with a shared purpose. I apologize. I'm like getting a phone call and it's doing a weird thing, so I'm just gonna put my phone down. Um, so they get this shared purpose, which aligns their objectives, but it will also be kind of like showing that there is a unification between like-minded individuals, and being able to come. And then also I want to interweave things that are personal to me with our family history in Appalachia. Now obviously, this is complete fiction, but I'm going to weave in some of the um,
Locations,
locations and
you
things
know,
like that
yeah.
are family oriented,
I'm
for
just
us.
I'm just like, I love the idea. Obviously, we've talked about machinima on this show recently and have been talking about it for a while ever since I became aware of that Grand Theft Hamlet thing and we discussed it. Um, I definitely want to catch up with that. I still haven't watched it, but that would certainly be a good way to do some idea shopping at the very least, and just kind of get your mind around some of the possibilities. Um, because as I was mentioning to you off mic, the constraints of the medium are going to present some challenges for you when you're trying to put out a feature film that is interesting, that holds an
Mm-hmm.
audience's attention. Because if it's just following around a guy over his shoulder, in that point of view that you get in the video games, like that will get monotonous. It will become visually monotonous over time. So you are going to have to find creative ways to make it as cinematic as possible. And that means finding ways, number one, finding effective ways to incorporate the dialogue that will be essential for something like this. I mean, essentially, you got a buddy cop movie here. You know what I mean? Or you got a buddy road movie, is what this is. And you're going to have in a buddy road movie, you would have
Lots of
scenes,
dialogue.
yeah, where two guys are sitting around the campfire or whatever, and the camera is just going back and forth from one to the other as they're having a conversation. You got to figure out ways to make that artful and
Well,
make that possible.
the in that therein lies part of the challenge of it, and which is why I think that the planning process of it is so important, which is why I want there to be a visual record of the planning process, is the trial and error to figure out what it is. Because like even when I'm making something like this concept trailer, it's like a living thing where I'll make like I'll make like a cut of it. Like I'll go through and I'll get a bunch of things and then I'll start to piece it together, and then I'll go, I need a shot that does this. I need a shot that does that. I need a shot that does this. And then I'll go in and I'll go in. Like I went in, I had one friend more or less that helped me with a lot of it this week. And I went in and I got a few of those shots, and then I incorporated those shots, and then I go, oh, okay, well I need a shot of this, and I need a shot of this, and I need a shot of this. So, you know, I then went in and got those shots and then incorporated those shots. But
Yeah.
also throughout doing that, it's also like I've seen, because it's weird because the game in and of itself is like a living world. Okay, there's things that are happening in the world all the time, and you have to be there to interact with it. So like, because you went to this place on the map, this random event happens. Okay. And so the other day we're on this river and I was like doing this thing where I was like leading a horse or something like that. And then all of a sudden there was this like random mission where you got to get in boats and go down the river. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, I didn't even know this was a thing, right? So I immediately, like, I'm clipping everything that I can out of it because I'm like, this is amazing. And like, we picked up a third person. And I'm like, oh, I need a third person. Now I've got a third person that I didn't have as I was doing this. And it gave me the ability to like add this other layer to it. And so another part of it is like, finding stuff that happens in game that I can use to substitute for other things. So
It's almost like an improvisational journey where you have to leave some portion of the story open ended.
mhm.
You have to leave it open enough that you can incorporate new threads that come in. That's gonna be a real challenge, man. This is fascinating.
I don't think it's going to be easy by any stretch of the imagination, which is why I
No,
think the planning is so important. So
I think you should start maybe with like a 30 minute with like a 30-minute long kind of thing.
I mean, when I say, I don't mean like necessarily a 2 hour movie. I mean, it may be a short, but
Yeah, do a short film.
it will be a first act, second act, third act structure.
Or yeah, start there. Like start by just like getting your first act, the act one part of it, because it's going to be a lot of work.
It will be. But
Um,
that's the thing. So like, for
but
instance,
it's essential that you have to have that real screenplay structure, or it's just not going to be compelling.
which is like right now. So right now where I'm at with it. So I want to make the concept trailer so that I can at least I can start to advertise the stream. That's the reason why I want the concept trailer is so that I can advertise that I'm going to be doing this. Um, and then I'm still taking now my baby steps on things. I have the outline. I've got kind of the first act, second act, third act beats down. And right now, I'm currently location scouting. So now I'm going through different parts of the game and essentially just taking screenshots and going, okay, this is this location, this is this location, this is this location, so that I can then take all of that and put it into a thing, and I could start to be like, okay, this scene's going to take place here. All right, here's our angles for this. This scene's going to take place here. So now I'm mapping out the world. And then I've got a lot of friends that play online. So I'm going to incorporate a lot of them into being bodies. And then I'm also going to figure out ways to incorporate the game into it. And if I got to do
Yeah,
things over and over and over and over again to get the right shot, then that's going to be what it takes.
yeah, it's gonna be like working with a cat.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like you just got to wait until it gives it to you
Yes, 100%. 100%. And but
and be ready.
but I think if I know exactly what I want, finding those places it's going to be easier because I know exactly what I need from any given place. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So, you know, the only like there's a couple of random things that you have that you're going to encounter, and there's a couple of limitations that you won't be able to overcome, but you can sit around at a campfire. You can be in a first. I play a lot in third person. You can play in first person. I've done plenty of things where I do first person camera work in other things where like I let things happen around me essentially, and I also have enough friends that I can. One of my friends is I'm trying to get my streamer buddy to commit. That's one of the reasons why I want the concept trailer. I'm trying to get him to like fully buy into the concept. So it'll be interesting. So it'll be a work in
what so,
progress.
so so let me ask you this, like what capabilities do you have, like when you with that slow-mo shot that you had in there where the guy like slits the dude's throat from behind or whatever, you had that
That's
little
just
scene
done in
where he's
editing.
like,
That's just done
so
in
so
editing.
so what tools do you have at your disposal in editing? Like can you do like um obviously you can do slow-mo. Like, um, can you? So I would assume you can vary the speed
Mhm.
of the video in both directions. You can speed it up, you can slow it down. Okay, so
Yeah,
that's
the
one
the
sort of like
tracking shot of the manor house in the concept trailer
right.
is that's literally me on foot in first person, but then I took it and I like stabilized it in the settings so that he didn't bop his head when he was walking, so that it was more still, and then I sped that up to give it that like
Yeah.
move in. So
Yeah. It would be because I'm thinking of other kinds of camera shots. Like there's a classic one that both Scorsese and Spike Lee use a lot, where it's the camera is the lens is zooming in, but the camera itself is pulling back. There's like a name for this shot, and it creates like a really interesting effect. Um, it'll be interesting to see if you can find, what other sorts of creative sort of camera tricks, quote unquote,
well,
you can
one
you
of
can
the
find between what you're doing in the game and then what you're doing in post as you're editing it.
so one of the things that the game allows is the game has a cinematic viewpoint.
Mhm.
So you can in the middle of gameplay. Now this makes it hard though because your visual acuity changes. But you can click this and it'll pull it back into a letterbox format and give you like cinematic angles of what's going on. So in any given scene, assuming that I can recreate the ambiance, I can do things in multiple ways from multiple angles right from my own controller. So like there's the scene when I'm walking across, there's a scene in the trailer where I'm leading my horse across a bridge over water. That's a purely cinematic shot. There's also a scene where like the three of us are walking through a field. That is a purely cinematic view shot. And so it gives you that like depth and, scope feel versus the third person. So I plan on utilizing that quite a bit because it will
Okay,
give
so
you.
so so take a scene like that. A guy walking his horse across a bridge, right? Um, if you're watching a movie, you might get like you might get like uh, a, over his shoulder kind of a shot as he's coming up on the bridge, and then it might cut to like a wide shot that you get this like beautiful panoramic of them going across the bridge, and then like you might get a third angle, as he comes across and crosses through the frame or something like that. Do you have like that kind of capability
Yeah,
to do that kind of stuff?
yeah.
Also, have you thought about like what you want to do with like the opening credits?
So I don't know if I want to do like old movie style like credits up front. I will
No,
likely.
you should do like new movie style and like create like an opening credits sequence of some sorts. Like, make it distinctive.
Ooh, like where it's like got like where
I'm
it's
thinking
a completely different visual
not
medium
not
prior
not
to.
not 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 a different visual medium, but I'm thinking like for a movie like this, like I could see, for example, an opening credit thing where like you know it fades up and you're just seeing like a close up of a flower. You know what I mean? And then like it cuts and you're seeing like more like woodland, and it cuts again and you're seeing the woodland, and then like it cuts, and then you notice in the corner that there's like a cannon there, and then as you pull out you realize like you're seeing all these beautiful things, but then you realize, oh, I'm actually seeing a battlefield. Oh shit, those are bodies on the battlefield. You know what I mean? And you're getting more and more information just with these like slow still shots, and like over this you're getting, like Harporama Productions
Yeah,
presents,
no, I'm with you.
something like that.
But I think that
And
therein
that just
lies
is
the
one idea. There's a thousand
right,
ways you could
but
do it,
therein
but
lies the fun of making that production out for everybody to see.
yes,
And
yes,
hopefully
absolutely.
getting interaction from people and people being like, "Hey, what about doing this? What about doing that?" Like in real time, which it just the whole thing really intrigues me. So, chronicling the making of it is hopefully goes hand in hand with the promotion of it. Like I'm hoping that if I get any kind of traction with it, that, you know, as people engage with the making of, like, that will build in an audience to, you know, see what the finished product is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm definitely not going to show the finished product prior to some sort of premiere for it. And then I'm going to have to decide, like, how, you know, music and all this kind of stuff gets done with it. So it'll be very interesting to see how it all comes together in the end. So the first part, I feel like I just need to get the visual, you know, get it all mapped out, get the visual stuff done, and then see how far I can push it, see if it's really, really, really possible. And you know what? Maybe I get to the point where I'm just like, I don't know that I can make it work. But therein lies what's kind of so fun about the concept to me, is just that I don't know how far I can push it, but I really want to see how far I can push it.
Well, I am certainly I'm salivating at the prospect. I think it's just such a cool thing, and it's going to be awesome. I'm also going to send you that song and the lyrics along with it, so that when you are up against the wall editing the thing and you just need to put your mind in a completely different space, you can make a music video. You can be a hired gun making a music video.
I will do that.
I think you're gonna like it, man. And the song is a freaking banger. Um, so, all right, well, let's leave it there, take a quick break, and when we come back, I got one more thing I want to talk about. Stay with us. Don't miss the Team Bus, our weekly podcast about pro cycling, and oh, did I mention pro cycling? We're kind of obsessed. Dropping into your usual podcast feeds every Wednesday. All right, we're back, and I wanted to talk about my night the other night on Friday night, and I'll start by giving a shout out to my buddy Pat Jennings from Pensacola. He's my old restaurant buddy turned lawyer, turned fancy lawyer. Actually, he's not a fancy lawyer. He's a lawyer for the people, and I admire him for that. But he dropped me a text. A little bit of forewarning would have been nice, but he texted me on Saturday morning and was like, "Hey, I'm in town for the night. Do you want to get up?" And I'm like, "Yes, I absolutely do." This is the guy who I may have told you about in the past. He sends me a 2-word text on Christmas Day every year. Oh, I told you about this guy. You know what those 2 words are? Fuck you. And it just warms my heart every time.
My kind of guy.
Every time that text comes through. So yeah, if he's if he's in town, if I can swing it, we're hanging out. So I had stuff going on that night. I couldn't even meet up with him until like 9:30. But we met up. I picked him up at his hotel. He was staying at the Washington Hilton, you know, where Reagan got shot.
Yep.
And it's funny, man. Mandy, my wife, had an event there for her work like six months ago or something, 8 months ago, that we went to some banquet or something like that, you know, in the ballroom there. And afterwards, I said, you know, let's go down the road and grab a cocktail at one of the little bars that are right down by there. And there was one that had been on my list, you know, my cocktail bars to visit list, literally since we moved up here. The thing's been on my list like 7 years. I never got around to going. I'm like, oh, we're going to be right there. We're going to McClellan's Retreat. So we go. Guy standing outside at the door. He's like, sorry, guys, we're too full. No room at the inn. Can't go. I said to the dude, are you kidding me, man? Like, it's just 2 of us. We'll stand. Like, we just want to grab a cocktail. He's like, nope, sorry, no room. I'm like, man, I'm a bartender. Like, you can't help me out here. He's like, I wish I could, bro. Seriously, it's too full. And he's like, there's a spot down there and a spot down there, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, it's not going to happen. So we went down the street and found other place that was really, really cool. Anyways, Pat's here. So I'm thinking to myself, aha, I'm going to try to get into McClellan's Retreat again. So I swing by, I pick him up. We go down there. Same dude is standing out front, packed house. Sorry, guys, no dice. I'm like, this is literally deja vu, right? Um, I was able to find a parking space very close by, which can be challenging on a Saturday night. Um, so he says, so my immediate thought is, okay, we're gonna go to the Golden Hour. That's a place where Mandy and I went when we couldn't get in there the other time. That place was really cool. He's like, he goes, you might want to try out blah 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 some other place. It wasn't the Golden Hour. I was like, what about and he's like, well, there's another place that I usually send people to called the Golden Hour, but they're having a private event tonight. I'm like, oh my God. So we end up going and looking at the other spot. It's not looking that great. I was like, you know what? Let's just jump back in the car and drive to another part of town that's cooler. And he's like, yeah, sounds good to me. He's like, I've been in this area the whole week. I'd love to go someplace else. So I'm like, we're on a U Street. So we go over to like 14th and U, by where I used to work at the distillery, and went from there and hit a couple of different spots and had a rip roaring good time, and it was cool. The photo I sent you where it says this must be the place,
Right.
that was like leaving this bar that we went to that was right by where I used to work. It was on the just on the north side of U Street on 14th, and we walked by and I was like, I'm not so sure about this, but Pat's just kind of like looking at it like, yeah, this looks pretty good. And we didn't go in, but then we came back later on and we were right by there. And he's like, let's just go up into that spot. And I'm like, yeah, okay. There's a black dude sitting outside, like checking IDs or whatever. So he checks our ID and then he's like, yeah, I need to pat you down. And I'm like, okay. And he pats me down. We walk on up in there, and this is a 100% like black bar, and we're the only two white dudes in there at all.
Did you have one of those moments like from Animal House where like the record scratches and everybody turns their
Yeah,
heads and
yeah.
looks at you like, what
Except
the fuck are you doing
yes, except
here?
there was no records to scratch. You know what? We played it cool. We just rolled up in there and like, okay, cool. I mean, they're playing like really, really loud music, like club music, and there are like hoochies rolling around. There's like some chick walking around in like a skin tight, like lace white bodysuit, with just what I'm saying, and like just all kind of whatever, whatever. And there's like dudes with long dreads, like in track suits, hanging out, and it's just like, but we grab a seat at the bar. Bartenders are super like smoking hot young black chicks, and they're getting it done. And we're kind of like, we'll take 2 beers and 2 whiskeys, and okay, here you go, boom, boom, boom. And like people are hanging out, having a good time, it's nothing. It was just interesting to be in there. But the places that we went, like, it was very sort of much, he got a much like a taste of a much grittier kind of side of DC, and I think he really appreciated it because he's that kind of a guy. But what I wanted to mention was that we swapped a lot of stories, and what I want to get into honestly is storytelling here, okay? Because as I just did, I'm a guy who tells stories, and I just related the story of that evening to you in a way. Um, and I got a lot of stories that I've been telling for a lot of years. And like everybody, I I have I have perfected the telling of these stories just over time, and through telling them over and over again. I know all the beats to hit. I know the exact payoff moments. I told Pat a bunch of my stories, and he's also that kind of a guy. He spins a good yarn as well. And so some of my good ones that I told him, he was just like, damn, that's amazing. Like, oh my God, like just absolutely loving it. Or like I told him my Diane story, and he was like, dude, that's just like one of the most touching things I've ever heard. That's so sweet, man. Like, you know what I mean? So these stories are good. Well, I also have some stories that were told to me by friends that really, really touched me or that were really amazing. And I will also dine out on those stories and have been for years and years and years, right? So one of the stories that is not my own, but that I've been dining out on for years is from this woman named Terry Johnson. I worked with her as a bartender. She was a bartender. I was a server at Jackson's restaurant in Pensacola. That's where I met her. But she owned the like punk rock club in Pensacola called Sluggos. So she was a bar owner, but she also liked the bartender at this high-end restaurant. She was kind of cool like that. She also was in like punk bands. She was in a band called This Bike Is a Pipe Bomb that was like a national story one time. And like she had done a lot of living. You know what I mean? She was a rock and roller. She was a bar owner. She owned a punk bar, but she could step behind the bar at the nicest place in Pensacola and just like get it done, stirring the Manhattans and entertaining the socialites and stuff like that. I mean, she was that kind of woman, a really amazing person. She moved to Chattanooga and now owns a restaurant there. Same
Good for
restaurant,
her.
Sluggo's. But Pat J knew her even way, way better than I did because he worked at Sluggo's and he was just more a part of her world than I was and knew her for longer. And, so he sharing my stories that she told me with him, it's like that's the best version of it because he knows her, you know what I
Yes.
mean? And so I said somehow she came up, or I don't know how it came up, but I'm like, man, I'm like, about Terry Johnson's like uh celebrity stories, and he's like, well, he's just like, you talking about Jimmy Page? And so I'm like, yes, 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 yes. Okay, so you've heard the Jimmy Page story too. And he goes, oh yeah, man, it's great. And he immediately starts like trotting that story out as he heard it. And I'm immediately like, wait a second. No, no, no. This is not the Jimmy Page story. Like, that's not the story I have. And he's like, what? And I'm like, no, 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 no. Like the the restaurant thing. And he's like, yeah, yeah, the restaurant. And I'm like, all right, just stop. I said, you tell me that your story, and then I'm going to tell you my story, and then let's see where we're at after that, right? And so I'll start, if you want, by telling you the story that I've been dining out on for a long time about this woman
Okay.
that I remember her telling me. Okay, so we get on the subject of like celebrity run-ins that we've had. And I'll set it up by telling the other celebrity story that I remember her telling me, which was David Letterman. So she said when she was in high school, she was obsessed with the David Letterman show, and her and a friend of hers made a bus trip up to New York City to go and see the David Letterman show. They got tickets, they went to the show, and after the show, they decided, let's hang around the lobby and see if Dave happens to come out, and we'll see if we can have an interaction with him or uh get his autograph or something like that. So the show ends, they go down, everybody, people are filing out, and they just kind of hang off to the side and like they're not leaving and they're not leaving, they're not leaving, and they're being discreet. But at some point, like everyone's gone and it's just them kind of standing there, and a security guard comes up and approaches them at some point, and he's like, so what's going on, ladies? How can I help you? And they're like, well, we were just kind of hoping we could meet Dave Letterman afterwards. And he was like, oh, I see. You went to the show. He's like, well, if I was trying to meet Dave Letterman uh, outside of an elevator in this building, it would not be this elevator. It would be that one down the hallway down there. That's what I would do if I was hoping to meet Dave coming off of an elevator. And they were like, oh, okay. And so, boom, they just walk down and they wait outside the other elevator. And as luck would have it, the doors open and out walks David Letterman. And he, uncharacteristically, is in a really good mood because, Dave is like a legendary grump. You know what I mean? And, but as she tells it, Dave's in a great mood. Dave, can we have your autograph? We were just at the show. Oh, sure, sure, sure. Can we get a picture with you, Dave? Sure. So this is before cell phones, right? Long, long before, because she was older than I am, and this was when she was in high school. But they have a little Instamatic camera or whatever, a little film camera. So she takes one of him with the one friend, hands the camera, he gets one, and he's like, well, let's get one of all of us. You got a timer on that camera? So she's like, yeah. She sets her little camera timer or whatever, and sets it up across the hallway, and they all stand there and they take a timer shot with Dave Letterman. He's like, let's do another one. They do another pose. He's like, I got it. I got it. You two get down on your hands and knees. I'll climb on top. We'll do a pyramid. And she said that she got a
Shut the fuck
pyramid
up.
photograph with a very jovial David Letterman after a show one time. Okay. So she told me that story. And then she told me the pièce de résistance, the Jimmy Page story. Right. So she tells me that she was in New Orleans, and I think Pat Jennings, Jimmy Page story was in New Orleans as well. I think it was those were the two common threads that we had in our story: Jimmy Page and New Orleans, right? And restaurant. Um, she said she's working in this place that's like a two-story restaurant where it's like the main dining room is on the ground and then there's a stairway up the side. It's like an old room, and half of the second floor in the back is dining, and it overlooks the main dining room. So it's like a loft kind of a thing. Um, and they use that as a private banquet space. And it's like a Sunday night. She's coming in because she's the banquet server for like, a 20 top that's coming in at 5:30 on Sunday afternoon. So it's a brunch restaurant. They run brunch from 10 until 2, and then it shuts down for a couple hours in the afternoon, and they open for dinner. So she gets in to start setting up for her banquet at like 3 in the afternoon. And when she gets there, she notices that there's still a table that's like left over from brunch that are still like sitting there. Like the restaurant's kind of closed down, but like there's still a six top sitting there, like sipping their coffee or whatever. She pays no mind. That's not her concern. She's got to go upstairs and set up for a banquet. She goes up, starts setting up for the banquet. She notices looking over the loft that there's like a guy that was on the table that's like now wandering around the restaurant, like looking at the tchotchkes on the wall. And, she just kind of clocks him or whatever. And like a few minutes later, she sees that he's like kind of winding his way up the staircase, like towards where she is. She's, okay, so the dude's like coming up here. I guess I might be interacting with some rando, right? So sure enough, the guy comes all the way up the stairs, and he's starting to, wander around the room up there. And she looks over and she finally gets a really, really good look at him and realizes, oh my God, that's Jimmy Page. So she has to go and say something to him, of course. So she goes over and she's like, hey, Jimmy Page, big fan. Say it's
Look,
Jimmy Page.
what else do you say?
Big fan. You're my hero, man. Like, what's going on? Can I help you out in any way? You looking for something? What can I do for you? And he's like, no, I'm just didn't feel like socializing with these guys down there anymore. Just sort of waiting for things to be done here. And she's like getting this vibe that he seems a bit distraught. And somehow, some way, she says to him, you seem like you're a little out of sorts. Is everything okay? And he's like, well, he goes, you're very observant. Yes, I am a little out of sorts today. He's like, I got something real big happening here, and I'm a little nervous about it. And she's like, would it help to talk about it? He's like, well, sure. I mean, are you too, you're not too busy? She's like, no, no, don't worry about that.
Not for Jimmy fucking Page. Good
Right.
lord.
She says, sit down. She gets him a glass of water. She says, what's going on? He goes, back when Zeppelin was at its ascendancy, we played, we did an American tour like in 70, whatever. We were playing here in New Orleans. And long story short, I fathered a child that night, unbeknownst to me. And in about 2 hours, I'm meeting that person for the first time. And I'm really fucking nervous. She's like, don't worry, man. You got this. Let's role play it. And she says, I'll be the daughter, you be you, and let's see where this goes. And she sat there with Jimmy Page for 10 minutes, like playing out father-daughter meeting scenarios. You know what I mean? By the time she's done, Jimmy Page is like hugging her, like, Terry, you've done me a real person to person solid right here. I'll never forget you, like, thank you so much. And this is just what I needed. And I feel so much better now. Like, so that's the story she told me, right? And I've been telling people this story for years. Like, this is just amazing. Absolutely. Like, if this is true, I'm so happy that this existed, that this happened. And Pat J's story is completely different, and I can't quite remember the details, but basically, like, she was like a bartender in a restaurant, and somehow Jimmy Page like helped her put her shit away, like helped her restock the beer, like came in late or something like that, and she was busy and he needed her help, and like, so then she was doing her work afterwards, and he was still hanging around and was like, oh, let me help you out with that. So I don't know, maybe somewhere there's these two stories intermingle. But here's the thing: Pat's still in touch with Terry Johnson. Like, he still interacts with her from a couple times a year. And so I'm going to circle back with him, and I'm going to be like, listen, you need to engineer something here. And like, I would love it if I could get him on a Zoom call and record it with her, where we're both like, here's how I remember it. Here's how I remember it. Set the record straight. When in life do you get the chance?
I smell it beyond the Slipstream episode of
know,
putting them both on.
I know this would be so good. So it would just be a fun, like, little, like, social experiment, you know what I mean, about how stories change and evolve. How, you know, the only thing is, like, I don't, if she's just like a total, like, fabricator, you know, if she's a pathological liar and just loves to spin a good yarn, maybe David Letterman isn't true either. And yet that's the thing. She seems so credible because this is a woman who has done and seen things and lived life. And I mean, you know, she's a club owner. Like, there's been legends of music that have come through that club over the years that she, you know, is probably on a first name basis with. She's in Wikipedia, you know what I'm saying? Like she's for, you know, the real deal. So a person like that, I wouldn't think would have a need to make up stories like this. Yeah, I mean, everybody embellishes. I embellish my stories, but, like, I don't know. It's quite compelling, and I would love if we could make that happen. But it was a super fun night swapping stories. My buddy Pat, he's a great guy, and it felt like an adventure. It was a crazy night. I didn't leave downtown till close to 2. It was a tough drive home, but I made it. So, anything else before we wrap it up?
Nah, man, I'm good to go.
All right. Well, thanks for taking another ride beyond the Slipstream with us this week. I'm Matt. He's Justin. Thanks for listening. Talk to you again next time. Say it with me, brother.
Ale.
Beyond the Slipstream is a companion to the Team Bus and is produced by Harperama. Find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Please like, subscribe, leave a review, and tell your friends about us. Thanks for listening. Talk to you next time. Ale!